Hey everyone, it's Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have another game review for you. This one is the second one I've done on the channel. Of course, my first ever video was actually, aside from an introduction video, we actually had the first ever review I did was a game review for GTA San Andreas, one of my childhood favorites. And this game is an odd game because it came out 1 year after GTA San Andreas. The graphics and everything are just mind-boggling to me. This game came out in 2005. F.E.A.R. First Encounter Assault Recon. I played the ever-loving hell out of this game when I was a kid, guys. Now, the big thing for me is I'm a big horror guy. I grew up on, Halloween. I grew up on the Friday the 13th films, mainly when they streamed on AMC and the Sci-Fi Channel. I grew up on a lot of slasher stuff more than actually truly probably what most people would consider scary movies. I just had a really great time with slasher flicks when I was growing up, and I liked some scary stuff here and there. And I have nostalgic opinions about certain films that people hate, like Alien vs. Predator 1. Anyway, F.E.A.R. First Encounter Assault Recon is the first of a trilogy of games. I've never played Part 3. Part 2 was a little bit more action-oriented, but it had some great scares. But this game, what was this game? The thing for me, F.E.A.R. is probably the scariest first-person shooter that has ever existed. I'm talking about the Xbox 360 version, specifically. And I do want to make the point that I love everything about it. I love this game. I think it's fucking perfect. Pretty much fucking perfect. I love it dearly. Everything from the action set pieces to the scares, the horror balance with the military shooter FPS balance is completely balanced, as a matter of fact. It's phenomenal. Basically, you have a team called F.E.A.R, First Encounter Assault Recon, that you happen to be a part of. You're called, I think, Point Man is what you're referred to as. You don't talk. You don't really do anything as a first-person shooter, traditional, classical feel, kind of like a, what's that older shooter that came out before Doom? Wolfenstein. It kind of has like that Doom, Wolfenstein type of thing where you don't talk as a protagonist, but you are what you are. The guns are great in here that you're using, specifically the shotgun, which is probably the most powerful feeling shotgun that I've ever shot in a game. And when I replayed this for the first time in probably 10 years, about a couple of weeks ago, maybe, I think I started replaying it right around the time Ray Liotta passed away. I had just finished GTA San Andreas. I had just restarted Vice City to try to beat that for the first time ever, even though I played the hell out of that in the past when I was growing up too. I replayed this at the same time as Vice City. Vice City will be my next review, as a matter of fact. And I absolutely loved it, even more this time around, with the memories, with the fears of, is this the area where such and such happened, or is this the area over here where such and such happened that I think I remember happening to me, of jump scares and all kinds of shit. By the way, some of the best jump scares ever created, too, in anything in the horror genre, of any kind of media at all. It doesn't matter if it was books, movies, games, some of the best jump scares ever created. Anyway, the F.E.A.R team are actually looking for a particular guy who got out. He's a nutcase who apparently has some kind of powers, named Paxton Fettel. He's creepy. He sounds like Mark Hamill. He is not played by Mark Hamill, as far as I know, from what I can tell here on IMDb. However, again, you are going through shooting a lot of military people to try to go hunt this guy down. But you're also having these scary visions of a little girl named Alma, and Alma kind of haunts you, and she's kind of a ghost, and she might be more than that. She is so fun, and I remember back in the day when this game came out, I didn't have a 360 yet, but I remember people talking about how wonderful this was. Then like Batman Arkham Asylum came out, I remember people talking about that. I still didn't have an Xbox 360 yet. GTA 4 came and went. I didn't have a 360 yet. I didn't get that for a couple of years, I think, or a year or so after GTA 4 had come and gone. I kind of missed the boat on a lot of games like this, but the reputation of them at that time were magnificent. And the fact that even F.E.A.R 3 had John Carpenter involved in, I think, some of the writing or some of the music or something like that. He was involved in some way, fashion, or form, the very creator of Halloween, the Michael Myers franchise. But the series didn't even need that. It didn't even need that. This particular game itself. And even by the time we got to F.E.A.R 2, which was still a little bit more, like I said, action-oriented, but still scary, I think a lot of horror games typically go the Dead Space 3 route, or the Dead Space route. One will be really, really creepy. Two will be kind of a little bit more action-oriented. It's almost like the speeding up the Resident Evil, problem that happened. Didn't really hit them until part 4, which is like 5 games in. And then Dead Space 3, Doom 3, a lot of them are more action-oriented, and they kind of ruin what the series really stood for at the time. And thank God Doom got a course correction. Thank God Resident Evil got a course correction. I wish F.E.A.R could come back. Dead Space is being remade, which is bullshit. I don't think it's fair to not have the creator on for that. Probably going to be ruined, if I had to be honest with you. Anyway, this game is magnificent. I love everything about it. Again, the guns are great. The music is just intense. It's scary. One of the best features about this is the sound design. The sound design, I don't even play with headphones. I just had the TV on in the dark while I play games like this or GTA or anything for that matter. And as I played, I got scared. I will be honest with you, there are many times you have to go through ventilation system, to get from one area to another safely without being destroyed by a turret or fellas that have grenades and shit. Which, by the way, this is probably some of the smartest AI I've ever fought against in my entire life, and I think most people would say that about this game. Maybe it's an exaggeration, I don't know, but to me, they seem way more intelligent than what I'm used to seeing in video games, especially FPS games. A lot smarter than I thought they would be. Anyway, it seems to me like the cramping of trying to be stuck in a small space, that isolation you feel being through most of this game pretty much by yourself, even as a military man with the experience, the abilities, and the powerful sounding shooting guns, you think you'd feel better. Most of the time you don't. One of the best features to even kind of add to that fear of being by yourself in isolation, even in the dark at some points, even with all the jump scares happening, is that your flashlight's battery can run out. You could be walking down a hallway and it just goes out. And one of the signs that you're about to have like a vision of something, like with Paxton Fettel kind of popping up here and there, is that your flashlight will start to flicker. You might start hearing a buzzing noise or like radio static. It's just ingenious. It's such a brilliant game that no one really talks about anymore, and I cannot believe, with, again, the reputation it had back in those days when I didn't even have an Xbox 360, when this came out, when people loved it and adored it. It's amazing to me how people don't talk about it anymore. Maybe it's a young generation thing, I don't know. A lot of those guys even accept just buying games to download a digital file, even though they have a disc in a box. Maybe it's them, I don't know. But for me, it's amazing to me how powerful, how frightening, how well-aged this game has become. And games that people love the look of. Like, there are some online shooters that I don't know the name of off the top of my head. Like, think of, TTT, for example. Think of Half-Life 1 and 2. That kind of distinct look to them, the grays, the level design, all of those things, how you have to be smart about how you do things. That's what F.E.A.R is. This first game is incredible. F.E.A.R 2 has great graphics. Don't get me wrong, I haven't played it in a while, but I remember the graphics taking an immense step up. But I kind of prefer the look of this, with the design and everything else, the design of the buildings, even though it kind of looks more bland to most newer people and newer audiences, I think. F.E.A.R 2 looks better, but I prefer this. That should speak volumes about it, mixed with the music and everything else being so perfectly blended together. That should tell you everything you need to know about F.E.A.R, First Encounter Assault Recon. Have you played this game? What do you guys think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down below, folks. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. I almost choked there for a second. Excuse me. Thank you for listening. Anyway, if I had to rate this one on a 5-star basis, this game, for me, easily, would be a 5 out of 5 stars. It's not the most powerful, engaging story, but some of the twists later on in the game are great. The jump scares, again, are wonderful. All of the things I've stated, I can't even tell you how much I love this because of all of those things. What do you think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down below. What's your favorite of the F.E.A.R series? This is my personal favorite, even though I haven't played 3 yet. Haven't played F.E.A.R 2 in a long time since release. But still, they could not even come close to the look and the feel of this game for me. Everything about it is absolutely perfect. And it doesn't overstay its welcome either. That's a big thing I'm kind of surprised. Most games either are too short or they're too long for their own good. This is perfect. And to come out a year after GTA San Andreas and look the way it does, wow. Just wow. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Put them down below, guys. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and goodbye.